So hello guys and welcome back to another video. It's a talking video again, but I choose a different view on my shelf this time. And I uploaded yesterday my video about my New Year's resolution, and in this video I talked about BTS and the huge amount of merch they release and how that makes me feel, and three people 3-4 people also shared their opinions. And I got this idea from this video because the people talked about like they tried to collect it but they failed and they felt guilty about it because they couldn't collect it all. And that's why this video will be a talking video about when K-pop collecting is too much. It's just, I don't know if I will call this video the way, but basically in this video I want to talk about the huge amount of merch that is released every month, and if you're just buying stuff from one group, or if you are a multi-buyer like me, how you battle this field and try to keep up with everything, and when collecting becomes too much and what you do in this situation. So I will talk about my perspective, and maybe if you have your perspectives you can write it down below. Feel free to share your opinion, but please be nice and reasonable, and everything that I say is my opinion and that doesn't have to be your opinion. So I just share what I think because I was in a situation when I thought that collecting had become too much for me, and how I dealt with the situation and just in general. So yeah, maybe we can just start at the beginning when I started collecting, because it's so much different than it is now. So when I started collecting GOT7, so I didn't buy like a ton of albums. I bought like one here, then 3 months later one here, so I had like under 10 albums. That's how I got started. And of course when you start collecting you're kind of confused. You have so many groups and your heart wants to try to find the group that you like, and eventually you will find your bias group or your biases groups, because you can have many. And then you have to think about, yeah, if I should collect them or not. And when I decided to collect them, the maximum amount of albums per comeback that K-pop Idol released were one. You only had one version, you only had like one photo card set, so one per member, maybe a group, but nothing more. And when I decided to collect GOT7, I first decided to collect Jin, and it was so easy because I was done so fast that I decided maybe I should try to collect the group. And at the time that only meant 8 cards per comeback. And I will keep GOT7 as example because I think JYP is kind of notorious for packing so much shit in the albums and to collect and stuff, that maybe of course other groups are a little bit different, but the trend is going that way. And the first time, so for Identify we had 2 different versions, but that wasn't that bad, but the photo card set was still the same. Then we had Just Right, there was just 1 album. Then we got Mad with 2 versions. So the trend kind of slowly went into the 2 versions for 1 comeback. But still 1 photo card set, nothing multiples. Maybe you got a special card that you can find in there, but that was the maximum you could find. And then for the winter edition we also had 2 editions, and then for Flight Lock Departure we had 2. And for Flight Lock Departure it changed because... No, for Just Right it changed because we had the small photo card set, so 7 PCs that you could collect, and on top of that 8 big cards. But those were kind of, so the members cards were, the group card was kind of special because you could win something, but it kind of slowly progressed into having more sets that you could collect. And then we went into Flight Lock Departure, and we had the 21 flight tickets that you could collect. So slowly it got more insane. And then we moved into Turbulence, and I think this was one of the point where it started to get really, really much, because before it was like 2 set max. and that's okay. But for Flight Log Departure, we had 8 versions for the album. So the group version and the member versions. And then we had 3 photo card sets that you could collect, but you only got 1 card in the album, so it meant it was extra hard to finish them, because nowadays you get like 3 to 5 cards in the album. That means that you will be faster done collecting because you get more cards, but that wasn't the case for it. So I will not share every comeback, but I just wanted to show how GOT7 started and how we are now today with 70 to 49 cards. And I have to say JYP is one of the most extreme examples, and most of the comebacks will have 2 versions. It depends on the company, but mostly 2 versions. SM is kind of low-key with it. They have 2 versions, 1 of 2 photo card sets, so they are not that extreme. And for 17, they are like building it up. I think like Pledis Entertainment for 17 albums is kind of equal with JYP, because they have so many stuff, so much to collect, and that is just the album. So of course then you have merch, you have DVDs, you have photo books, you have a concert you want to attend to, and when you get into a group, you want to support them. And you want to buy the album, of course. Maybe you want to collect the photo cards. Maybe you just keep what you get. And with time, and this is all like a hill that you go up. You first start with 1 album, and then you think, oh, maybe I should buy more. And then you think, oh, maybe I should collect photo cards. Oh, this merch looks good. And then you think, oh, I love photo books, let's buy the photo books. And then, oh, I need to have the DVDs because I'm a collector now and I want to have a finished collection. And you kind of slowly build yourself up. Of course, it always depends on your financial situation, what age you are, if you are able to work for yourself, if your parents give you money, how your pocket money is, and all the things. But for me, I was working at the time, so I've kind of had money and was able to afford most of it. So I myself slowly built myself up. Of course, I decided I will not buy DVDs because I'm not into them, but I love photo books, so I bought them all. And you kind of build yourself up. And of course, this is all marketing. JYP wants you to buy all the versions of the album, and they want to have multiple versions because you want to have all the photo cards and everything that, and all the merch that they release. And then there are Japanese releases that also have merch for their tour, and maybe you want to buy that as well because you want to support your group. So it all gets bigger and bigger, and the company sees, oh, you are buying it, and maybe we should increase the albums. Maybe we should get 4 versions out. Why not? Because we can do it, and it's a higher profit margin because you just reuse some old photos from the photo shoot that kind of seem similar but still different. So yeah, the fans will be happy. And slowly they test the waters and see if the fans are buying it. And of course, we are buying it, because I wouldn't classify CDs as typical CDs. I would classify them as merch CDs, because you get so much more. You get a photo book, you get collectible items. It's just like this. So, and now we are at the top, and at some point you have to realize, can I still financially support this? Because sometimes you make the mistake and spend all the money on that, and then you think, man, I need a new shoes, but I just spend all my money on K-pop and it's not possible. So you always have to be careful. And I have this one channel as an example. I really enjoyed to watch her. I don't know her channel name and I couldn't find it because she has been inactive for a while, but she was a huge Monster X fan, a huge one. And she was pretty new when I was doing like my channel for 1 or 2 years. She started and she was like, she went full force into it. She bought all the CDs, all the merch, all the photo cards, all the Japanese releases. And I was really impressed, and I thought, hey, how can she afford it? And then after 1-2 years, I think, she made a video and said, hey, I have to stop it, because I realized that this is not good behavior for me and my money. Because what she did, she began to spend her savings, and then she had nothing left, and then she realized, oh fuck, I just spent all my money on this K-pop thing, and this is totally out of control. And that's why I have rules in place for myself and try to limit myself. Of course, I spend recklessly. This is not important. I have the privilege and the luxury to be able to afford all of this. And I can probably say I work for my money to get my money to buy all these things. And no, not everybody can do it because maybe you're too young, maybe your financial situation doesn't allow it, and you always have to think about your financial situation, because I wouldn't recommend spending all your money on K-pop. Maybe set aside a little bit of money, try to save some money, because sometimes you come into a situation where financial situations get worse and you need some money, you need your savings. And when you spend your savings, that should be an alarm bell for you, because that is not what this is supposed to be. And you can make a savings account when you are like want to buy something big in K-pop, you can use it, but never spend like your savings for medical, for holidays, for presents and stuff. Of course, in the end, it's still your decision, and you have to be comfortable with your decision. But sometimes we can be blinded by the hype, the popularity. Everybody else is unboxing it on YouTube, so maybe I should buy it as well, because I am a collector for this and that group and everybody has it and I need to buy it. And sometimes we need to take a step back and think about it and say, is it really worth it? And I had a point where I was like, I think it was Spinning Top, or yeah, I had like more moments, like Spinning Top and You Call My Name. And if I was like, man, should I really collect those cards? Because it's such a huge expense on me and it's taking me such a long time. And should I really be doing it? Or if I should just collect Jinyoung and just try to save my money and spend it on something else? And in the end, I didn't decide to do it, because I said, it's okay if I take years to finish it, that's okay. I will take it slowly, and if I have extra cash, I will invest it in photo cards and stuff. And I love to collect because it brings me joy. But in one point or another was it like, hey, I have this YouTube channel and hopefully I'm kind of known for being a crazy GOT7 fan that I am. And people wrote me like, hey, I just found you. I love that you collect all the GOT7 cards because nobody else does. And I can like reference you if I search for a card. And I want to be, this is also kind of a pride point, because I was like, man, you can't stop collecting because those people, they need it. And it's, you know, it's kind of like your ego, you want to still collect and people not be doing it. But in the end, I don't care what the people say. I have to be like in line with myself. I have to think if I can do it financially. And I'm really slowly collecting, and that's fine. And sometimes I buy crazy purchases, sometimes I don't. And I have my 5 groups, and honestly, I was never interested in collecting more, because I listen to more K-pop songs than I collect. Maybe I don't talk about that much, but I'm never like interested in like collecting them. One time I thought about maybe like collecting Promise 9, but then I was like, no, I just like the music and I don't need the album. So yeah, and that is something I want to say to you. When K-pop collecting becomes too much, you have to think about yourself. It's not about, I need this, I need that. And of course you can still buy things, but maybe you have to take a step back, because as I told you in the beginning, we are slowly going a mountain up, and there doesn't seem to be an end to the craziness that companies are putting out in the albums. And you have to decide for yourself if you are following it, or if you try to live with it, or if you don't want to live with it. And it's all a personal decision. And I think JYP has reached the craziness of 70 cards or 90 cards for Twice, and he's only doing it for Twice and GOT7. I find it interesting because he knows the fans are going to buy it, because he knows there's the money behind it, that fans want to support it and the popular groups. So yeah, and this is what I want to talk about, because sometimes collecting becomes too much and it's overwhelming, and there's so much stuff out there, and especially if you are maybe a new collector and you see, I want to collect BTS or GOT7, and they are groups that have been out for a long time. There are so many things out that you can collect, and I would recommend you guys to start it slowly. Maybe start with the newest release and buy that because that's easy to buy. Because, for example, for GOT7, unfortunately, there are so many albums that are now out of press, and that shocks me really. I think Got It, Got Love, Identify, Just Right, Mad, Lilac Departure. I think those are the older albums out of press and hard to get. So yeah, you always have to think, maybe you buy it used, that's cheaper, and always think about your financial ability, what you can give, and the benefits you can get from it. Never overspend yourself, because that's also something that people love to do, and that's a dangerous trap. Because for myself, I don't have a credit card. I will never have one, I guess. Maybe if I'm older, have a regular job that comes in handy, but for example, in the USA, it's so much easier to get a credit card if you have a good credit score. So it can be really easy to overspend your budget and then have credit card debt. And then you have all those percentage you have to pay on top. And then you have spent so much money. So always think about it, if it's worth it, if you have the money, and then go for it. Maybe you can buy it later, and don't overspend, because it's the worst thing to go into debt just because you want to collect something. That's crazy. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting topic, because I've never seen somebody talk about it. Of course, when people stop collecting at all, they talk about the reason why they're stopping, but like, I experienced it myself, that, for example, that I mentioned in my New Year's resolution with BTS, that there's so much out there that I'm so overwhelmed and overpowered. Like, what should I buy? Should I buy anything? Like, BT21 is pumping out stuff, BTS is pumping out stuff, and it's just so much stuff, and that I'm kind of getting turned off and saying, stop, I can't handle this. I will take a step back and think about if I should buy anything or what I should buy, because I think because so many stuff comes out, the kind of like anticipation, the joy when finally something came out, because before they got so famous, it was like, okay, you have the summer package, you have the season's greeting, and maybe a photo book and a DVD sprinkled between if they did a tour, and then you have your 1, 2, 3 album releases, and that was it. And you were excited for these things to come, is because they were timed perfectly. And now it's like, you have the summer package, and then they have the collaboration with BT21, they have the collaboration with a pop-up store, and then they have the collaboration with this and that, and it's just like, you can't catch a breath. And when you can't catch a breath, in the long run, you will be so exhausted that you don't want to do anything with it. So I know that Big Hit wants to milk the situation, they want to get as much money out there, and people are buying it. I understand from a market point, but for me, the kind of anticipation and joy has gone a little bit, sadly, and hopefully maybe it will come back. And I still buy photo books as I see it, but for like summer package, or I didn't buy the summer package. I don't know if I will buy the season's greeting, because my joy, my anticipation kind of went off, and I was like, man, it's cool, but do I need it? Nah, I don't know. So normally I would like, yes, I need to buy it, I need to find it. And I know when I got my season's greeting for, was it for 2017? The red one you can see here. This one, I was so pumped when I got it, and I was like, oh my god, this is so awesome, the coolest. And yeah, but nowadays I'm like, nah. So yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys about it and share your opinion down below. This is just mine. I think collecting K-pop has become so more difficult because so much products out there, so many groups try to fight for your attention, and it gets so overwhelming. And yeah, I hope maybe this helps you and sort your own collection things, your own opinions. So yeah, if you enjoy my content, please follow me down below, ring the bell icon, and I also have Instagram that's linked down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!